Hey, JT Ellison here, coming to you from Pandemic Release Day. How crazy is this, y'all? I hope everybody's doing really, really well, starting to settle in. We're getting ready to go into fall, which is going to be a challenge for all of us, I'm sure. Don't mind that buzzing. I'm being dived on by hummingbirds while I'm sitting here doing this. I'm out in Colorado visiting my parents, which was a huge challenge, trying to figure out how to get here safely with my masks and all of my sanitizers, and try and stay away from people and quarantine and do all of the things. But I've managed to do it, and it's been wonderful to see my family. Flying was not bad at all. It was very normal and very surreal, kind of like, zombie apocalypse Tuesday with masks. It was bizarre, but we got here safe, and that's all that matters. Today, though, I'm heading home. Actually, I'm heading back to Nashville to settle in for a big adventure this week, which I will tell you about soon. But I am very excited that today is the release of Good Girls Lie. So look at this little sweetheart. This is the Mass Market Max. See how gorgeous this is? It's a really cool size. I'm sorry that this mirrors, that's not good. But it's a really, really cool size. And the pages, I'm going to turn her and look at this. The pages just fall open. Oh, there we go. The book falls open. There's a lot of white space. It's a really interesting new format for mass markets. And I think you're going to like it. I really, really have enjoyed picking these books up. The covers are really nice. The page turn's really good. It's just a really nice new size. So I'm excited about that. There are also a couple of deer on the hill right here. Can you see the deer right up there? There's a whole bunch of them. There's a mama and her little Bambies, and sorry about that. Didn't mean to get right in your face. It's this is a really neat place. This is where I grew up. I would say Good Girls Lie, the bones of it probably started here in Colorado, out on this incredible scenic golf course community, which is 30 miles from the nearest town. I mean, when I was growing up, the closest thing was a Conoco station over 10 miles away in Larkspur, where the post office was. Very, very small, very idyllic place. I'll give you a little pan so you can see it. So obviously we're starting with the deer and the hummingbirds, but those are the barns down there that I rode horses. Indian Head up there, the rock formation. This whole area was populated by the Ute Indians, and it's really cool down on the golf course. There are signposts, trees that were grafted together in certain ways to give signals to the Indians as they were passing through where to go, in order to not get lost as they were moving through the mountains. It's just fascinating stuff. I used to find shark's teeth and arrowheads and everything when I was out cruising around. I was a very free-range child. I'm sure that doesn't surprise any of you. But it's a fascinating place to have grown up, and that I ended up from here to a all-women's college in Virginia is just, it's one of those interesting kind of paths and stories that we all have. It's just kind of fun. But I just wanted to touch base and tell you a little bit about Good Girls Lie. If you haven't read the book, I've mentioned now that I went to an all-girls college, which I did in Lynchburg, Virginia. It was called Randolph-Macon Women's College. It is now a co-ed school named Randolph College. But when it was all women's, it was an incredibly empowering experience. I studied both politics and creative writing. The school itself was just this wonderful, elegant red brick building. I'm going to post a video later this week from the school of this incredibly just idyllic campus that we had. It was very small, very insular, and very, very haunted. So lots of really cool stories that I took away from Macon that made it into the book. The Red Staircase, for one, where the girl supposedly died falling down the staircase, hung herself. I'm not quite sure exactly what it was, but she ends up dead. And it's very crazy, weird story that I incorporated into this. The dorm where I lived, there were constant footsteps above me. I could hear people up there, and my roommate and I would sneak to the stairs to catch who was coming down, and no one ever came down. And we would go up, and the rooms were empty. It was just a really creepy kind of thing. It didn't scare me, but it was definitely a very interesting thing. And the school had tunnels. It was part of the Underground Railroad at one point. Just a really cool setting, and I've always wanted to set a book there, and I'm so excited that I finally had a chance to do that with Good Girls. And it all came together. I didn't have to do any research because it was really just my entire background that I was able to take and lay in. We did have secret societies. I was in a couple of secret societies. I may have embellished a wee bit about what happens in the secret societies for this book to make it even a little more dramatic. But it was just a really cool place to go to school, and it gave me this amazing backdrop and canvas, all of this texture to put into Good Girls. It really, pardon me, I'm allergic to a lot of the stuff out here. My allergies are terrible. A lot of really exciting things that I was able to take and put into this book. So that's one component of it. The other, I wasn't supposed to be writing a book. I was actually supposed to be taking a break. And I had just told my publisher I was going to take a couple of months off before I started the book. We were on a trip. Everything was fine, just really kind of chillaxing. And I was on a plane and reading Yoga Journal, which I do, which I love. And there was a story from one of the yogis, and she mentioned that her best friend's name was Ashlyn. And I went, Ashlyn, Ash. Ooh, that's a great name. Also happens to be one of my best friend's husband's name, but it didn't strike me at all. I mean, characters become, when you name them, they become that person. And even if, they have your own name, they're their own person. So, Ash. I wrote that down. I flipped the page, and there was a story about Belinda Carlisle from the Go-Go's. I don't know if you all remember that band, but they were awesome. And she's a yogi now, which was really interesting. But, Belinda Carlisle, Ash Carlisle. Boom, there it was. 2 pages in a Yoga Journal magazine. And I had a character name and ended up with this amazing character. She's a teenager. She is absolutely devastated by losing her parents. She is recently orphaned. They died in a murder-suicide, which is horrible. And they've arranged for her to go to this school in Marchburg, Virginia called The Good School, Goode. Yes, the title's a little on the nose. It's kind of a joke. I'm sure you like that. But she has nowhere else to go. And that was a very purposeful choice on my side. I wanted her to be stuck. She has to go to America. She has to go to this new world that she's just lost there, and she's stuck there, and she can't go anywhere. I debated making it a college that would be very, very similar, obviously, to the one that I went to. But I couldn't make that happen because I felt like a college-age student would have more agency. They would be able to actually leave. And she does not have that option. She is stuck there. This is the only world that she can survive in. She's taken under the wing of the headmistress, Dean Ford Julianne Westhaven. Her name has a story behind it. My husband and I, on Sundays, like to drive around Nashville and look at houses. That's just something that we do. I love architecture. I love imagining what's going on behind people's closed doors. And so we drive around, and we were down in an area of Nashville called West Haven. It's down south in Franklin. It's a community, this really neat community. And I was like, West Haven, that's a great last name. And then we looked at a house, and it was by the Ford builders, and the house style was called the Julianne. And I came back and I got in the car and I told my husband, I'm like, I think the Ford Julianne West Haven house setting is a really great name for the dean of my new school. So that's how she came into being. But Ford she is very much an embodiment of me when I was at Macon. Her staring out the windows at the Blue Ridge Mountains and wanting to be an author, that really was a large part of me. This entire book has so much of me in it. It's not biographical in any way, but it just truly has a lot of the elements of what I experienced when I was growing up. I wanted also to look at the concept. We have so much bullying online. Obviously, we have a lot of bullying going on online, whether it's, adults or children. It's happening everywhere. I really wanted to explore that and take the idea of a teenager who goes from revered to reviled, and how difficult that must be when you're in this insular environment that you can't escape. And that's very much what happens with Ash. She lands on our shores, comes in, she just wants to go to school. She just wants to get her education. She doesn't want to get involved in all of this. And yet she gets caught up in the teenage vagaries that happen in a school, especially in a private boarding school, And she gets popular, and then people start to die. And because it wouldn't be a J.T. Ellison novel if people didn't die, right? So people start to die, and she truly goes from revered to reviled. And even the way the book opens, it is a very, I think, shocking opening. I wrote it like a screenplay. I really wanted the setting to pop and you to get an idea immediately of what was happening here. And it starts with one of the girls from the school hanging on the gates, which is, terrible, obviously, but it really does set the tone, and openings are so very important for that. But that Ash, we see what can happen and what has happened to her right away. And that's, it's kind of a chance when you frame a story like that. But I felt like it was absolutely perfect for what I was trying to do. So, Ash really does grow up quite a bit while she's there, and she has to face some serious demons. There's also a great, of course you have to have your queen bee. Becca Curtis is the queen bee. She's the daughter of a senator, and that's the thing, the makeup of the good school. These are girls that are exceptional. They are not just your typical kid. These are the daughters of scions. They are the daughters of the most powerful people in the world. And that in and of itself, having this incredibly intellectual backdrop for these teenagers was so much fun for me. I went to Langley High School in Virginia. Obviously, I moved from Colorado to Virginia right as I was going into high school. And it was very similar to that. The students there were, their parents were senators and Supreme Court justices and just really congressmen and just very powerful people in the DC construct. And that really did shape a lot of what the students that went into good. I love the idea of these girls that so much is expected of them, and they want to live up to these. They want to live up to what their parents want for them. They want to be able to step into the world and run it. And that's the other thing about being in an all-female environment, the empowerment of being told that you are going to be running the world. You are the future. You are our hope, and you need to learn how to work in the world. That's a very heady concept for teenagers, especially teen girls, for them to try to put aside their jealousies and pettiness to become bigger women than that. It was a really fun thing. So I loved writing this book. I'm so excited that it's come out today in Mass Market Max. Having a mass market release in a pandemic is, having any book release in a pandemic has been interesting. Obviously, this one came out right before everything started, so I'm very curious to see what happens with this and whether it makes it to you, whether it lands with you, what you think. As always, please feel free to send me an email, jtellison@jtellison.com. Let me know what you think. Tell me what's on your mind. I love to chat. Stop by the Literati, stop by my Twitter account, Thriller Chick, or stop by Instagram, where, I just share little bits of my life. Also, sign up for my newsletter. Yeah, this has turned into an advertisement for my stuff. I'm so sorry. The newsletter, though, goes out monthly. It has a recipe in it. It has the books that I'm reading. It has a little essay. And if you open it, you are automatically entered to win a $30 gift card, which I give away every month to your favorite bookstore. So I encourage you to shop indie, obviously, but I will give you whatever you want because that's what we do. We're here to serve. We're here to please. So thank you so much. I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. You hold me up and you hold me accountable, and everything that I do to make you happy and give you pleasure and give you some entertainment and take you away for a few minutes. And I think that's a really important thing, and I'm very blessed that you trust me to do that. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Let's gear up for fall. Wear your masks. Don't forget, and go out there and grab a copy of Good Girls Lie. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to tell you, there is a huge secret reveal in the back of the book, and I'm gonna flash it. Woo! That's it. That's all you get. So now you got to go get it for yourself and see what it is. It's pretty darn cool though, because guess what? Coming up March 9th. Her Dark Lies will be out in the world. So isn't that incredible? It's like time to move to the next book. Here we go. Off we go. So again, thanks you guys. Thanks for listening to me ramble. Obviously, it's been a while since I talked to anybody. And I hope you have a great day. Take care.